Welcome to the Unconventional Path, Entrepreneurship and Innovation Stories and Ideas. I'm Bela Musits.
And I'm Mike Wasserman.
Hey, Mike. Today's guest on the podcast is Tony Marinello. He is a retired New York State Trooper who has started a very interesting second career. He founded a company called Tropic Air Rescue. The company is focused on providing emergency medical evacuation and transport from the Bahamas back to the United States. And it's a real example in my mind of identifying a need and then fulfilling it.
Yeah, Bela, sounds super interesting. I think listeners will want to pay special attention to this. It's a great kind of quote unquote later in life founding story. So this was a second career for Tony, and a really interesting service oriented business model. It's a fascinating niche that he found and a fascinating way of monetizing it that I think you'll want to stay tuned to, and just an eye-opening also approach to marketing. So let's get right to today's interview with Tony Marinello.
Hello, Tony. Welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Hey, so let me ask you a question. If you're at a social event, some evening social event that's non-work related, and you get introduced to somebody, and after the introduction, they say to you, "Nice to meet you, Tony. What do you do?" How do you answer that question?
Right now I own a small airline. We fly people back and forth to the Bahamas, and I also own a helicopter rescue service.
Okay.
That's pretty much what we do.
Wow. That's so how did we have a lot to unwrap there, but how does one get into or want to get into a helicopter airline and rescue service?
Well, I kind of got tired of working for other people. So I decided my entire adult life, I've been involved in aviation. I was a New Jersey State Trooper for about 30 years. I flew rescue helicopter for 21 years, and I've been retired from the state police now. This is my 20th year retirement. And that whole time I've been flying helicopters for different people. And when COVID happened, I got very tired of working 14 hours a day, 7 days a week for about 8 months because they laid off everybody in the company. And I decided I'm going to do in Bahamas that flies back and forth to the Bahamas. And I said, wow, that sounds really good. Enjoy your vacation while you're retiring. And I said, that sounds wonderful. Perfect. So I came down and I bought the airline, 4 small planes, and they fly back and forth to the Bahamas, bringing cargo and passengers. Been in business for about 30 years. And I said, it's a perfect fit. And then one day, one of my pilots called me from the Bahamas, and he said to me, I've got a guy here. I think he's having a stroke. I don't know what to do. And I said, all right, no problem. Let me call an air ambulance, because that's what we do. So I got on the phone and I called about 10 or 15 different places. Not one of them will come out. Not one of them was available. They all required huge amounts of money to do it. And I could not find anyone. The only person that I found, they said, all right, we'll come out. I said, okay. He said, we can be there Sunday. We'll be there Sunday morning. And I said, it's Thursday. What am I supposed to do with the guy till Thursday? We'll take him to the hospital. There's no hospital. He's in the middle of the Bahamas. There's nothing here. Sorry, that's the best we could do. And he hung up. And I went around and I found somebody with a plane that wasn't afraid to put him in, and I sent him back here to Fort Lauderdale, and he got him to a hospital, and that was it. But that lit in me something. I said, well, where are all the helicopter air ambulances? Because in the United States, they're everywhere. There's probably a couple thousand of them. So I said, let me try and find out. So I spent the next 2 days researching where's the closest helicopter air ambulance that services the Bahamas. And you know what I found out? There's never been one. There isn't one. And it's never existed before. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And I went back into the office the next day and I said to my exec team, I says, okay, changing in the direction of the company today. We're going to become a helicopter air ambulance operator and we're going to service the Bahamas. And everybody laughed and thought it was funny. And I said, not kidding. And that started a 2-year odyssey for me to get all of the licenses, get the helicopters, hire the paramedics, hire the doctors, get all the certificates, get everything necessary to get it done. And it took 2 years to get it done. And then finally we were ready to open.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a great story. You know, it is interesting how oftentimes, especially for those of us who live in the United States, we get used to a certain level of grocery stores, roads, health services, access to health services. As challenging as that may be, like you said, pretty much in every part of the United States, if you get in a bad traffic accident, a helicopter is going to come and pick you up and take you to the trauma center.
Yes.
And we go to other countries that are 100 miles away from us. I mean, really close. And we go there on our boats and oh my gosh, right. All of a sudden, many of us get a awakening that, boy, they don't have fresh produce every day. The ship comes once a week. You know?
Well, that's what we do with the airplanes. We bring produce and groceries and meat and things like that to supply different people out there. But when it comes to medical services, you are in a third world country as soon as you go east of the United States. There are 3 hospitals in the Bahamas. 2 of them are on one island in Nassau. The other one's in Freeport. And the other 698 islands have no hospital.
Right.
And it stretches out almost 500 miles. So to get help is a very, very complicated process. And if you need help immediately, you're in trouble.
Yeah. And there's no United States Coast Guard there either.
Well, a lot of people say to me, well, I'll just call the Coast Guard. I said, did you notice what the Coast Guard actually says? It says United States Coast Guard.
Right.
Okay, you're no longer in the United States. They're under no obligation to come. Now, that doesn't mean they won't come if your boat's sinking in a bad storm and your life is in peril. There's a very good chance they're going to come. But once you reach the shoreline, regardless of where you are, their mission has basically ended. They're going to say, you need to find someone to get this done. And that's why I created this program, because up until now, there's never been one.
Yeah. So tell me how it works. Let's say, I'm interested in this, Tony. How do I sign up? What do I do?
Well, you go to our website, which is tropicairrescue.com, and you can scroll through and you'll see the different levels of membership. We have a daily membership, a monthly membership, a yearly membership, a family membership, boating memberships. There's all kinds of different levels of membership. So if you were going to go there for 5 days, you could buy 5 days worth of coverage. You can go, if you're going to, people there, they go for months at a time. They cruise the area. You could buy 3 months of coverage. You go buy a year's worth of coverage. I have many people who have homes out there and they go back and forth constantly, and they'll buy a year's worth of membership. They'll buy a family membership if they have 5 people in their family, and you're covered. And what the difference is, if you get one of these air ambulances to come, you have to pay the entire cost up front before they will respond. So you're on an island and you're in the middle of the Bahamas and you're injured, you're seriously injured. Now they're going to want your credit card and you're going to have to pay. And in addition to that, you have to do what's called an international transfer. A doctor here in the United States must accept you in order to be sent back to the United States. That can take a day or 2 before they find a hospital bed for you. In the meantime, you're having a heart attack, you're having a stroke, you've been bitten by a shark, you've been in a boating accident. There's no help coming. You're going to languish there until someone figures out how to get you out of there. And if you do manage to get out of there, you're going to Nassau to the hospital, in which case it's a whole nother event that occurs. But if you want to come back to the United States, we are the only ability to get back to the United States immediately. Airplanes, by their nature, are not considered emergency transportation. They're transportation. Helicopters are the only considered emergency transportation because we can go from the scene of the incident directly to the hospital and drop you off. An airplane can't do that. You have to go to an airport by ambulance, if there is one. Then you have to fly wherever you're going to go to. Then another ambulance has to transport you to another hospital. It can be a significant amount of time.
Right. That's right. Helicopters, most trauma centers have helicopter pads.
They do. All the ones we go to, that's for sure.
Yeah. Not only do they have them, they know what to do. Right.
Yes, there's an entire team waiting there. So when we're on our way in, we call the hospital by radio and we tell them what the type of injury we have, what our ETA is. And if it's a stroke, if it's a heart attack, if it's a trauma, they call the alert. They call a stroke alert. They call a cardiac event. They call a trauma alert, a burn. All of those doctor specialties meet us at the helipad and begin treatment immediately for that person. You're not going to get that if you go by an airplane. It's just not possible.
Right. And like you said, there's transfers involved.
Yes.
They get picked up.
And the advantage of our membership, is if you're a member of our system, we only respond to members of our system. So you have to be a member in order to receive the helicopter. But we don't require you to pay any more money. So that transport may be $50,000 to come out and get you. If you're a member and you are injured, we come right now, get you, take you to the hospital, and then we'll bill your health insurance after you're in a hospital. You're already getting treatment. You're all set. And then we accept what the payment is from your insurer. It may not be the full payment. You know, it may be a $50,000 bill and they only pay us $10,000. Well, that's the business decision we've decided that, you know, we're going to do that for our members, but you have to be a member in order to accept that benefit.
Right. So I'm sure people listening to this are wondering, okay, so let's say my wife and I are going to the Bahamas. We're going to cruise up and down the island chain. We're going to be there for a month. We'd like to purchase your service or get coverage for that month period. Calibrate me as to approximately what that would run me.
For an individual, it's $250 per month.
Okay.
So if you're you and your wife, it'll be $500.
That's it.
That's it.
Holy smoke! I would have expected a lot more than that.
I mean, I tried to make this as reasonable as possible. At the same time, it depends, or it's necessary to have a lot of people to join as a membership.
Yes.
And the membership costs are spread out through everybody. Not everyone is going to need the helicopter. Okay. But when they do, and you're a member, it's coming right now.
Right.
We don't play games. Right outside my door here are the pilots, the paramedics, the nurses. The helicopter is out there. It's ready to go 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Believe me, it's very expensive to have everybody sitting there with their thumbs twirling, waiting for a call to come in.
Yeah. Wow. I was just taken back by, I expected a lot higher expense than that. So that's wonderful. So, let's say I sign up, then do I get a phone number to call? How does that part work?
Yes. So when you sign up, you'll get a membership card. You print that out. It has our emergency dispatch phone number along with your membership name and number. And when you call into the dispatch center, you'll give that information along with the type of injury it is. The doctor reviews it to make sure that it's necessary to send a helicopter, because we do not come out for broken fingers and broken arm or something like that. It has to be a life-threatening event. And then we come out. And then we've had everything you could think of: boating accidents, burns, explosions, heart attacks, strokes, every kind of boating injury you can think of, from broken backs as the boat's underway and it gets thrown in a wake and someone comes down and lands on something, fractures their back, getting hit by another boat when you're in the water. We've had people snorkeling and they've been hit by other boats going by,
Right.
and they're chopped up from propellers from head to toe. You name it, it's happened, and we've seen it, and I'm sure we'll see more. Shark bites, anything you could think of. The Bahamas is absolutely gorgeous. It's a beautiful, beautiful country, but you if you don't take it seriously that you can be injured seriously, you're going to be in trouble when it happens, because that's not the time to look for help.
Right. Right. And then approximately how long does it take to sort of get there, to come pick me up?
The Bimini chain, which is right off the coast, we can make it about 18 minutes. Freeport, Grand Bahama, that's about 30 minutes.
Okay.
A couple of the islands beyond there, Grand Island, Walker's Cay, that's about 35 minutes for us to get there. Abaco is about an hour for us to reach it. The Berry Islands are about 48 minutes for us to reach that whole Berry chain. Great Harbor, Chub Cay, all of those islands in there. And then you have Eleuthera is about an hour and 10 minutes. Nassau is about an hour. Andros Island is about 40 minutes. And then they stretch out from there. And we can get to San Salvador. It takes about 2.5 hours for us to reach San Salvador. And we probably have to stop for fuel on the way out there. But we're coming right now. You're not going to get anybody else to come out
Right.
there. They won't even. If you get someone on the phone, I'll be surprised. If you call them and they answer and then say we're on the way, it's not going to happen, because no one has crews standing by. We're the only air medical program that has a crew right now standing by, ready to go. Everybody else is a call out. So it's 3-4 hours for them to get the phone call, make the arrangements, notify the crew, come in, get the aircraft ready. 3-4 hours, and then they take off on their way to you.
Yeah.
So, and if it's at night, there's no flying at night. So the helicopter can fly at night. Helicopter could fly 24 hours a day. Airplanes cannot fly at night. Seaplanes cannot go anywhere above 2-foot seas. They cannot fly at night. They're forbidden to fly at night. So there's a lot of restrictions with a lot of the fixed wing aircraft that we don't have those restrictions.
Yeah. So, we've all seen pictures of the helicopter hovering over a boat and lowering down a cable and picking somebody up in a basket. So if that's the situation where I'm not on land and I'm on my boat and, I fell and I hit my head and I'm unconscious, and maybe other people on the boat can help me. But so do you have a way to getting people up into the helicopter? How does that part work?
We do not do that. That is
Okay.
a purview of the Coast Guard. So they're the experts that do that. We require you to go to the closest land there is, regardless of what it is. So if you have a very, very large vessel, you'd probably go in a tender or a dinghy and go to the closest island and give us your position. We operate on Channel 16, Marine Channel 16. So everybody out there has Channel 16. We can talk to anyone that's out there. But we do require you to go to land somewhere in order for us to pick you up. If I were to try and hover over some of the smaller vessels, we'd probably turn them over. It's very, very difficult to do that. And it requires a lot of training, and we don't have a winch that we can do that with.
Right.
I have to leave something to the Coast Guard. I have to give them something to do.
Yeah. No, that all makes sense, right? But it was just a question. People are going to wonder. Excellent. So these are for life-threatening injuries, right? As you mentioned, like heart attacks, strokes, concussion, person's unconscious. breathing difficulties.
Eye injuries, arms
Yeah.
hanging off, golf cart accidents. I
Okay.
mean, anything that you can think that can happen will happen. And when you get seriously injured, people I've seen overturn golf carts and the golf cart lands on your head and your head is crushed and you're unconscious. You've got a serious head injury and blood's coming out of your ears and your nose. I mean, that's not
Right.
the time to start thinking about what we're going to do. You need to have your plan well in advance before that happens.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good point. I mean, since this podcast is about sailing and boating mostly, that's how I think about it. But you're right. You can be doing things on land.
Yes. And people
and
do.
get
They
hurt.
go, where do they go? They go to the island. They want to have dinner. They want to rent a golf cart. They walk out onto the island and someone hits them with a golf cart at full speed because they didn't see them. Now
Right.
you've been struck by a vehicle and you're in a foreign country and no way to escape.
Right. Right. Excellent. Excellent. So I think you mentioned this in the beginning, but I forgot. How long have you been doing this now, Tony?
We started the company was actually I started on March 1st, 2024. So
Oh,
it's a
okay.
year and a half. That's it.
Okay. So you've been providing the service for a year and a half.
Yep. Our first call came on March 10th. And I was surprised because I said, no one knows we exist. How would
Yeah.
anybody know? So we got a call from a congressman's office to go and rescue 10 Americans trapped in Haiti, in Port-au-Prince in the Civil War.
Oh,
And he said, can you do it? And I said, yeah, I'll do it. And we flew from Fort Lauderdale to Nassau to Turks and Caicos to Dominican Republic and then into Haiti. We rescued those 10 people and came back to the Dominican Republic. And that was our first mission. And it was world news. It was on every
wow.
news channel in the world. It was quite an interesting evening, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. And oh, that's super. How many helicopters do you have?
we have 6 helicopters. 2 are
Oh,
medically
wow.
equipped. The other are in various stages of being retrofitted for the medical. And we have 1 VIP machine.
Okay.
We use that. We do what's called a commercial medical escort. So if someone were to be seriously injured, yet they don't require a full medical team, we can send the helicopter out to pick them up and then take them back. The
Okay.
only problem with that is no medical insurance is going to cover that. So that becomes like a charter at that point.
Yeah.
But at least you will have a way out.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. And how many individuals can you take, injured people can you take on one helicopter?
The helicopter has the ability for 1 injured person on a stretcher.
Okay.
We usually have 2 extra seats because there are 4 seats in the back plus the stretcher. So the 2 medics take up the other 2 seats. There are 2 seats open. If someone turns out to be a young adult or a child, we'll take
Sure.
a parent with us.
Yeah.
But that's usually it. And we've never really run into a situation where we needed more than 1 person medevac at a time. Doesn't mean it can't happen. And those are circumstances that we'll have to evaluate when it's happening. Either we go back twice, or if they're able to sit up, we can probably fit them in a seat and get them out at the same time. But it's
Right.
just a matter of the severity of their injury.
Got it. That makes sense. That makes sense. So let's look into the crystal ball and think out 2 or 3 years from now. How do you see this expanding and growing?
Well, I'd like to see us march down the Caribbean chain and maybe put some other helicopters further down as we go along. But
Mhm.
my focus right now is the Bahamas because it's a very large footprint that we're responsible for. And I want to be good at what we do before we get bigger. So right now, this is the focus of what we do, and it's a large enough area. And
Yeah.
there's almost 10 million visitors go to the Bahamas every year. The population is only 400,000 people. So
Wow.
there's a lot of people that come in and out of the Bahamas either by boat vacation, airplane, however it is. They have vacation homes there. They come down for vacation, go to get married, go to different things, cruise lines, millions of people on cruise lines at the time. So there's a tremendous amount of people here any given day.
Yeah. Yeah. So that triggered another question. If I sign up for your service, what's the geographic area that I sign up for, the coverage area?
It's the Bahamas. So no matter where you are in the Bahamas, we will come and get you.
Okay.
So I have to draw the line somewhere. I mean, the next country down is Turks and Caicos. So we don't go to Turks and Caicos.
Yep. Okay.
As a rate, because at that point, when you start to get further down the chain, it's almost better to go by a fixed wing to all the way down to Caribbean, because there's range issues with the helicopter, and then it becomes not really the most expeditious way to bring you back for medical treatment. So as you go further down the Caribbean chain, you're almost better off getting a fixed wing at that point.
Yep.
And hopefully there's hospitals where you're at, because that is the determining factor. I mean, there are many, many, many islands that you'd be lucky if there's an aid station on the island, and they got aspirins and they got Band-Aids, and that's about all you're going to get.
Right. Yeah. Wow. This is fascinating. So we've been chatting for almost about a half hour here, so I want to start wrapping it up. So Tony, is there anything I haven't asked you that you'd like to share with our listeners?
No, I just want to emphasize that if you'd like to be a member, that's how we respond. It's really important that you be a member before you go, because your membership takes effect 48 hours after you sign up. And, call me skeptical, but I'm from New Jersey. I've seen the scams before, like your arm gets bit off by a shark, and then you call me and send me $25 and you expect the helicopter to show up.
Right.
Doesn't quite work that way. If you're a member and the luck of the draw happens and you are injured and we have your membership and it's valid, we are coming out to get you. And that's just the way it is. It does require that you maintain health insurance of some sort in order to get this benefit, because when I bring you back to the United States, the first thing the hospital is going to ask me is what's their insurance, because they want to get paid. And depending on what's wrong with you, it can be quite significant bill for the hospital. So they want to make sure that you have a valid health insurance. When you sign up, that's one of the requirements. You'll have to send your passport and you have to send your medical insurance card. That lets us validate that you have those two items, and you have to maintain them. So you can't send me an insurance card today and then tomorrow it's expired. Right. You're going to be responsible for the bill. While we don't charge for the rescue, we charge the insurance. If you have no insurance, you're going to have to pay the bill. But let's hope that everybody has insurance and understands that.
Right. That makes sense.
Those are the big things. I mean, like I said, I've gotten calls from people that their child has been injured. They've been struck by a boat. They're 180 miles at sea near an island, and they have no idea how to get their child. And when I say injuries, I mean significant injuries to the human body that you are not going to survive if you don't get help right away.
Right.
That's why I designed the program. I did it for 21 years. I've probably done about 5,000 rescues myself in that time during those 21 years. So I know what can happen. I've seen it. And if I haven't seen it, I hope to never see it. But there are many things that can happen on a daily basis that you would be shocked. That you'd be fine 1 minute, and the next minute, you don't even recognize what's happened to you.
Right. So the website was, say the website again, Tony?
TropicAirRescue.com. And you can go on there. You'll see all the different levels of membership. You can see there's stories on there that I posted about different rescues, about different things that have happened, how our company is formed, and how we did all this. pictures of the helicopter in action. So there's a lot of information on the website. Of course, the most important thing is to join up, because that's what keeps us going. And we're ready. If you become part of our system, we're ready for you. And there are people 24 hours a day ready to come and respond.
Yeah.
Hopefully people join as members and they never need our service. That's what I hope for, but in the meantime, you need to be prepared for it.
Yeah. Yeah. And remind me where you guys are based out of.
Fort Lauderdale, Florida, at Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport. So depending on what's wrong with you, most of the shark injuries we take to Palm Beach, to St. Mary's, because they have a shark expert there. We can also go to Jackson Trauma Center down in Miami. We have a lot of stroke victims and heart attack victims are usually the closest one is Broward General. We come here. We have a children's hospital in Aventura, Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital. We go there. Mercy Hospital has a hyperbaric center. We can go there. We can fly very close to the water with a hyperbaric victim.
Right.
That you don't, when you go into an airplane, you're going 6, 7, 8,000 feet in the air. It's not the best for you in that kind. You can throw an embolism that can kill you at that point. So we have a lot of specialties that we can deal with and how we deal with it. But that's what we do. That's what you're paying us to do, to be ready for you and to get you to the right facility. We don't usually do requests. So you can't say, I want to go to this hospital or want to go. It's really up to the medical director what he thinks the appropriate medical facility to go to is.
Right. Yeah, they're the best informed to figure out where you're going to get the highest level of care. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Many people don't realize not all hospitals are created equal.
For sure. So we only go to the trauma centers, the burn centers, the specialty centers, because they're the ones with the helipads.
Right.
They're the ones who receive the people. You don't want to go to the local hospital.
Yep. Excellent. Hey, this was really fascinating, Tony. I really enjoyed learning about this really valuable service that you have set up. And it's something that I think most cruisers do not think about until it's too late. So hopefully people listening to this will take heed of that and sign up for your service the next time they're venturing out offshore.
Thank you. I hope so. And if you're ever out on your boat and you listen into Channel 16, you may hear us out there, because you'll hear us Tropic Air Rescue, because we're always contacting the landing areas where we're at. So we're out there. You'll hear us. Hopefully we're not coming for you, but if you're injured, be happy we are coming. That's for sure.
Yeah. That's great, Tony. Thanks again for being on the podcast.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you very much for asking me.
Wow, Bela, that was a cool story. What were your main takeaways?
Yeah, Mike, I thought this was one of those really interesting businesses. Like, I would have never thought of this, right? And if you think about it, travel's a big part of our lives, our industry. And there are services that, if you travel to some faraway country, that'll get you back to the United States to get medical care. But it's going to take a couple of days to do that. And what Tony's notion here is that you get hurt, I'm going to get you back to the United States so you can have your surgery, your emergency surgery here. They can set your broken leg here. So I thought that was interesting. And if you think about it, there's a lot of people who travel, particularly to the Bahamas, which is not that far away from the United States, but it certainly does not have the medical infrastructure that the United States does. So there's a lot of people there, sometimes in remote locations or relatively remote locations, who have a medical emergency or they get injured, and boom, how can I get back? And that's not easy. And I think about, if I ever sail my boat to the Bahamas and, we're on some relatively remote island and my appendix flares up, what am I going to do? It'll take me a day to sail to an island that has a hospital on it. So it's something we don't think about until we need it. And I think that Tony has done a great job in sort of differentiating himself from what I would call the typical medical air transport businesses. And he uses helicopters, right? So they're fast. Now they have limited range, but he can go to places that a fixed wing airplane can't go to. So I just thought there was a lot of neat elements of this. It's a great sort of second career story, right? There are many people who retire in their, late 40s, 50s, mid 50s, 60s, and they got plenty of gas left in the tank. So what am I going to do? And I think this is just a great example of that. What were your thoughts, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the first thing that struck me was the same thing that you just said, is that this is a really cool second career for somebody, right? Rather than sitting at home and, watching TV all day, actually doing something that leverages past knowledge, skills, and experience, right? With making the world a better place, right? And I'm sure making some money, hopefully, right? On top of that, employing a bunch of people, right? Saving people's lives, probably, right? Some really cool things. So I hope this is inspirational to some of our older listeners who might either be thinking about retiring or are retired or just ready for a change. And I realize that doesn't mean flying a helicopter and saving people's lives, but maybe there's something you too can leverage from your previous career, monetize it, right? And make the world a better place. So I think that's fantastic. The second related step to that, and again, from a technical entrepreneurship standpoint, if you have this idea of, hey, here's a need and here's something, a way I could fill that need, I think careful attention to how Tony thought through the business model. So we used this membership model where people pay a monthly fee, and we were both surprised at how low that fee was, how accessible this service was. It's brilliant, right?
Yes.
And then understanding what health insurance does and does not pay for, because in a lot of ways, yes, Bela, if you're on your sailboat down in the Bahamas, you may be the customer, but really in a lot of these cases, the one that's paying is the health insurance company, right? So there's this model here where there's really two customers. One is knowing the customer, you, the person on the sailboat or whatever, right? And the other is this other customer who's actually spending some money, which is, what does health insurance reimburse, right?
Right.
And how do I code it? And how do I make sure that I get the money through the health insurance company? So I think this is a really cool business model to reduce some of the barriers. And then how he marketed it was really cool. He didn't market it as a luxury, right? For rich people, right? He marketed it as a necessity. Hey, if you're going to be traveling down there, you need to protect yourself, because all kinds of bad stuff that you probably never thought of could happen. And there's nobody here but us that's out there that can really help you. That's and it's affordable to do it. Check us out. Right. And I love this. You could do it for a day. You can just try it, that peace of mind for a day. And the hope probably is that you go to a yearly subscription. So reducing the barriers to the service or that he's offering, making it affordable, having a compelling message, right? I think these are cool examples of how anybody, right, can be a successful entrepreneur and leverage some of their past knowledge and skills in a way that, again, not flying helicopters, but maybe it's helping people recycle, or it's helping people take care of maintenance for their cars, right? I mean, there's all kinds of ways that you can start a small business with a membership model, right? With a low cost of entry, right? And do some cool stuff.
Yeah. A lot of these membership models, there are lots and lots of examples of them out there. And I would tell you from a private equity perspective, private equity loves membership models because it's a nice, steady cash flow. And you got to manage your expense side, but it's a nice, steady cash flow. And that's really great. So yeah, it was real clever. All the elements of this were, as I think about it, boy, Tony did a really, really interesting job on it. Very clever, well done, well thought out, understanding all of the challenges and all of the players. As you said, oftentimes you have multiple customers, not just one, not meaning 5 different individuals, but sometimes in this case, you have the insurance company and you have the person who called you for the service. So, and you have the hospital, right? Because you can only go to certain hospitals. So the hospital has to say, okay, yeah, we will take your helicopter to land here. We will accept your patients. Yeah. Right. So there you go. I thought it was great.
Yep, me too. Some really good lessons for listeners if they're interested. So what do you think? Should we wrap this one up?
Yep. Let's call it a day, Mike.
All right, listeners, thanks for listening to yet another interesting entrepreneurial interview. And Bela, thank you for doing a great job with the questions. Listeners, we hope you found this episode interesting and thought-provoking like we did. And as always, if you have questions about what we talked about, please get in touch with us. Our email is bela.and.mike@gmail.com.
And finally, if you enjoyed the podcast, please hit that like button on your podcasting app. And you can now find our podcast on YouTube as well. And if you know of someone that would be an interesting guest, reach out to us and let us know. We'll try to get them to be on the show. So that's it for today. So signing off until next time from a cold, wintry upstate New York. See you soon.
And Bela, thanks. Great to see you. Look forward to seeing everybody next time from over here in Münster, Germany, where it's not quite as cold, but still gray. Auf Wiedersehen.